Have you heard that story that Jesus turned water into wine? Listen to this video and then pay attention to what if it didn't turn out the way we think it did.
Anne,
Yes.
have you ever heard of the story where Jesus turned water into wine?
Yes.
What are your thoughts about that? Do you have any thoughts about why he would do that, or if he actually did that?
Well, I have thought about that. And that was actually after I started to learn about alcohol and it affects people. And I thought, well, why did Jesus turn water into wine, to alcohol, knowing the effects that alcohol has on people?
Good question, right?
Yes.
So, this little story we want to tell is about the wedding at
Cana.
Cana.
Mm-hmm.
And with a little what if in there. Well, what if? Just a what if scenario. Make sense?
Yes.
Ready for this?
I am.
Okay. So now, with this slide on the screen here,
Mm-hmm.
you want to tell the story before we start telling our version of it?
Yes. Jesus was on his way to Galilee and he was going for a Passover event, feast, whatever you want to call it. But along the way, he attended a wedding feast in the village of Cana. And that's where Jesus performed his first miracle. You see, when the wine ran out, Jesus' mother asked him to do something about it. And Jesus asked the servants to fill 6 stone jars with water and give it to the guests. When they drank it, they all agreed that it was the best wine that they had ever had.
That's the story from the Bible, right?
Yes, that's a story from the Bible.
And that's what we know that happened for sure. But based on the teachings,
Yes.
right? The Ascended Masters have told us this many times. We should always be in control of our faculties. And one of the ways that we can lose control of our faculties is by drinking alcohol, especially when we drink too much of it.
Mm-hmm.
So we go back to your question. Then why would Jesus turn water into wine, knowing that alcohol attracts this non-beneficial entity that can actually influence somebody in a bad way? Correct?
Yes.
So, let's see if we can answer that question. Go ahead, storyteller. You're a fantastic storyteller. So.
At the wedding, everyone was enjoying themselves. They were eating and they were drinking.
Yeah, that looks like pizza on the table, but I guess it's not
Well,
pizza, right? Did they
yes,
have pizza
it's a
back
small
then?
Picture. No, they didn't. I think it's supposed to be fruit and vegetables, maybe some meats.
So they're having fun,
Yes.
which is what a wedding is supposed to be.
Yes, and you could see they're drinking up.
Is that what's in the container there?
That's what I'm assuming.
Okay.
And while they were continuing with the festivities and dancing and having fun, the servants realized that there was no more wine. So they went to Mary, the mother of Jesus, and they told her, "There's no more wine."
Okay. I don't know what they expected from Mary. I mean, Mary is there as a guest, right? So
I think they knew that her son, who had been already going around and preaching and everything, could do things that normal men supposedly couldn't at that time.
But you just said that that's where he performed his first miracle.
His first public miracle, right. Mm-hmm.
Oh, public?
I think it was his first public miracle. I believe he'd
Got
done
it.
other things up until this point.
So that's why they probably thought, oh, let's go tell his mom. She has this inside connection. Maybe he can do something.
That's
Is that
what
you're
I
thinking?
think.
Okay. I didn't think about that. But that's a very good point.
Because otherwise, why would they go to Mary?
I don't know.
See? Things that people don't normally think about.
Maybe they figure Mary's gonna buy some, order some new wine. But the point is, they drank all the wine.
Correct.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes. And back in those days, drinking all the wine and not having wine to serve your guests was very shameful.
It's a dishonor. Yeah,
yes.
Definitely. You should have enough food. You should never run out of wine, especially
Correct.
wine, and not run out of food.
Correct.
Yeah, that was definitely dishonor to the whole family. So
Right.
I can understand why they, now that you put it that way, I can understand why they want to marry. Like, wait a minute, you have this prophet son, maybe he can do something.
Uh-huh.
So
So
here they are.
here they are, and once Mary is told about this situation with the wine, she turns to her son, and as
But
the
it
wonderful,
looks-
loving mother she is,
Hold on, but it looks as though she went to get Jesus in this case.
well, yeah,
They-
that's
they-
her
they-
son Jesus.
Right, but they're looking, it's not like she just went and talked to Jesus.
Well-
Hold on, it looked like she has him there. Anyway, you're saying.
I
So
was
she goes to
saying.
Jesus.
She tells her son Jesus, Jesus, there is no more wine. And he replied to her in a wonderful, loving way, Mother, what do you want me to do about it?
See, to me, I was going to ask, well, I was thinking that he'd probably ask her, so, Mom, why are you telling me this? Right? But he probably asked that question indeed, like, okay.
In a very
what?
loving, respectful way.
Mhm.
What do you want me to do about this, Mother?
And then she probably said,
And then she didn't even answer him, I wouldn't think. She probably just,
oh, no,
according to the Bible, she just turned to the servants and told them, do whatever my son says.
no, I don't think that's what happened. I think that she literally turned to him and said, well, you'll think of something. I don't think, knowing Mother Mary and the way she was brought up, see,
Uh-huh.
there's a lot about Mother Mary that that's not in the Bible, and people think she was just very meek and quiet lady. Mother Mary was a very powerful and well-respected lady in her community,
Okay.
okay? Because she spoke out. I mean, she told people things, and she did things of her own. People knew she was powerful, but that's not in the Bible. They make
Ah.
it seem like she's just this useless mother, like she doesn't know, like she's clueless or something. No, she was far from that. We should do a video on that, actually.
Okay.
So anyway, I believe that she turned to Jesus and said, okay, you're my son. You will come up with something, I'm very sure. See, and then Jesus probably went like, okay, Mom, but wait, hold on. You know that according to the teachings, we should not be drinking alcohol. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
She said, I know, but you'll think of something. And then the moment Jesus was probably trying to say something, she went and she turned to the guest, to the servant and said, come here. While Jesus is trying to figure this out, I said, whatever my son tells you, you just do it. And then she probably just walked away, left him there.
More than likely.
Right?
Uh-huh.
So Jesus is like, wait a minute, what do I do?
Well, according to what the Bible story has written, he asked them to gather the 6 stone jars. And each of these jars could hold about 20 to 30 gallons worth of water. So he told them to fill them with water. So they did. They filled them to the rim with water.
20 to 30 gallons of water, 6 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like 180 gallons of wine.
Yes, that would be a lot of wine.
That's a lot of drinking.
Well, as the story goes, once all the containers were full, Jesus asked one of the servants to take some of the water up to the head person of all the servants.
The
like
master of
steward.
ceremony.
Yeah, master of ceremony,
Right.
whatever he may have been, to taste it. And when he did, he immediately went to the bridegroom and he said to the bridegroom, you know, tradition is that normally you serve your best wine to your guests at the beginning of the wedding. And then once they've had enough to drink, basically when they're drunk, then you give them the bad wine. But you've saved the best wine for last.
Wow. Of course, Jesus made it, so why would it not be the best, right? That's impressive. So, whoa. So they're
Uh-huh.
excited about this wine. Do you think they drank all the wine?
I think they probably did.
180 gallons.
And I wonder what his disciples, because his disciples were there with him and his mother.
Right.
So really the only ones who knew what took place there of this conversion of water into wine were the servants and the disciples and his mother.
Okay.
So no one else knew what took place. They just assumed that there was this storage of wine somewhere, and they just brought it out halfway through the wedding party.
But what does that teach you? You should be humble, right?
Yes.
See, Jesus didn't go and say, look at what I did. I made wine for you guys. Somebody else might do that.
Correct.
See,
Yes.
but you have to be humble. You just do your thing quietly, in secret. You don't have to go broadcasting. So it's the best wine, and they don't know that Jesus did it, or at least he didn't think that they knew.
Right.
But you know how word gets around, especially when people start talking about it's the best wine ever.
I know. Well, I can imagine that. This is my thinking, that his disciples probably went up to him after the wedding and were begging, Jesus, teach me how to do this so I can impress people and show them, a good
So
time.
that's what's going on there.
That's that one.
So he's like,
One of
okay.
his disciples saying, please, Jesus, if we want some vino, we could go get some.
Yeah. We don't have to buy it now. Just show us how to do this thing.
Show us how to make it.
Yeah, that's transmutation, right?
Yes.
Which is something that we teach some of the trainees already. They know how to transmute things.
Right.
So that's fantastic. So now here's one of the disciples saying, teach me how to do this. I want to learn how to change water into wine.
Uh-huh. But of course, after the wedding, I would also imagine that there may have been a guest or two
Well, according to this picture, there was.
who had found out that Jesus was the reason why the good wine was there, and they probably went after him, asking him, please, I'm begging you, please, give me some of that wine to take home. It was so delicious.
Well, yeah, normally, I know when I was a kid, I would go somewhere
Mm-hmm.
and I enjoyed something, like food. I think I
Mm-hmm.
told you this before. I would make sure I took some home to my mom so she could try it. Because, it's something that I want to share because I liked it. So you could imagine if they enjoyed this wine, and wine was a big thing back then, right?
Mm-hmm.
They probably wanted to take it home, take extra because it's really good wine.
Right?
The best they've ever tasted.
Yes.
So you can imagine how much that would cost them if they had to buy it. So I would go and get some too. But he looks like he's laying on the ground. So
He does. Maybe he was
he's
drunk,
drunk.
almost passed out there.
Yeah. So we were like, Jesus, this was really good. Is that you? Oh. He's talking to Jesus' feet. He's probably thinking that's Jesus' face right there. Guy's almost out. He's literally drunk. Right?
Yes. And
And
then,
So after all that, all these people are leaving.
uh-huh.
And here's Jesus with his mom. And then,
She's probably telling him, great job, son. I knew you would have come up with a solution.
do you know what everybody's saying about this wine? They say it's the best wine ever. You did a fantastic job. And then Jesus turned and said, Mom, now you know that we're not supposed to give people alcoholic drinks. That's just against the teachings that I was brought up with. He said, I know, so what did you do? Because I saw some guys, they look all drunk and everything. And then he goes and he said, but I don't know what made them drunk. Because yes, I turned the water into wine, but I took out all the alcohol.
What if?
What if Jesus actually turned the water into wine? Well, that part we know he did for sure.
Yes.
Right? But took out the alcohol. So it was a non-alcoholic wine. What if?
What if?
Like they said in Coming to America. Uh-huh. Right? Uh-huh.
Remember to subscribe and like this video. Join the Facebook group 190 Vision to connect with others on the same journey. Get help by visiting our website 190vision.com. Support the 190 Vision mission by clicking on the donate button, which is at the bottom of each page of our website.